Hi, guys. As we wrap up last week, which was week 9, and get started on this week, which is week 10, we're really wrapping up our coursework this week. So if you'll look at it, we're finishing on chapter 28 and 29. I think these two chapters are really interesting for two reasons. When we're looking at the leader and the manager, I think you can have a really good leader and help them learn the management part. Conversely, I think you can have a really good manager and they don't necessarily become a good leader. So the management piece really is about the nuts and bolts of the day-to-day things. What has to be done? How do I keep those things aligned? And then the leadership part is, how do I lead a team? How do I have a vision for that group? How do I assimilate into that culture? Which builds directly upon last week, which was managing those personnel problems. So if you've had the opportunity to see your leader that you've been working with facilitate personnel problems, well, then that's a leader versus someone who's a manager and really is not comfortable with making any of those confrontations. Then it makes that person, the manager, who's maybe not necessarily there, makes them very uncomfortable to handle those personnel problems. So I like that these two chapters are following on the wake of personnel problems from last week. So for this week, week 10, you have EAQ for both chapter 28 and 29. And then there are your lessons there. I looked at these two specifically. The leadership styles I found really interesting and helpful. And I hope that you've been able to see your leader utilize some of those leadership styles. And usually you're not like one style is the only thing you use. You're kind of fluid between a couple of different things that you like about different styles. I also want to push you guys to start thinking about what's your leadership styles, because I can almost guarantee you with that BSN and your and that healthcare management minor, you're going to be looked at frequently for promotions, internal promotions within. So it almost sets you up for a leadership path right out of the gate. And while I'm all for that, I do want to tell you to get your feet under you. So make sure you understand what you're doing before you accept some leadership roles, because you really want to make sure you have a good understanding of that floor before you take on some leadership. So do pay attention to the leadership styles, the fellowship, which to me is kind of like a servant leadership type role. Reflection and renewal. I know we say that a lot, but maybe the older I'm getting, the more I realize if we don't reflect on it, A, it doesn't move into long-term memory, and B, I can't change my behavior if I don't reflect on it. So that's a sign of maturity, I think, as you mature in your role as that nurse. And then that transitions in leadership, and you've probably seen some of that. I know a lot of times in your posts, what I'm reading is that sometimes your leader gets frustrated with changes that are dictated to them by administration, but they understand it. They have to figure out then how to take that change to their staff. So making sure that that's a seamless process, but they're doing it in such a way that it's reflective of the changes that administration says that we need to do. And usually, there's a fiscal reason behind that, or a healthcare outcome that's behind that. And then transitioning that change to the staff members to get that buy-in is interesting. So you've got those lessons available to you. Again, we're doing the EAQ's proficient level on chapter 28 and 29. And I think my last group is wrapping up their leadership clinical hours this week. So let me know if you have any questions, guys.